All right, you delinquents. It's another installment of Tales from the Head with me, myself, and Danny. And today we are talking about, yay, sports! We are going deep into the stigmas which taint the sporting industry in some ways. Maybe to some people, but in others it's pride. And that thing or ideal we're talking about would be masculinity. And today we're just going to talk about it. Not necessarily in one way or another. We're just going to discuss it.
Yeah.
And we're gentlemen, so there's not going to be any, violence. These are kind words that we're going to share.
Also, I mean, people need to remember, like, sports is like a lot of people's manlyhood and masculinity is defined via sports.
Right.
So since this is like our mental wellness kind of podcast where we kind of just talk about it, a lot of sports influence what we do and what we like. So it only makes sense to kind of talk about it. And, maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you can't. But you know what? This is who we are. And this is how it got us to this point right now.
Yep. And you chose to hit the play button. So here we are.
We just gave you the warning if you want to skip.
So before we get deep into our balls and all that stuff, how are you doing, dude?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. Last time we spoke, I was just coming back from Mexico. Hardcore shows galore. But yeah, doing pretty good. The heat wave, I haven't really experienced it. I've been doing the good California, the Bay Area heat. I got something tattooed yesterday also.
What is it? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So on my, what leg is this? My right leg, I have this robot type of like the 1950s retro looking robot with like a blaster. And at first it was just going to be that robot piece. And then while we were tattooing it, my buddy was like, hey, I'm not going to finish it because I think I like this better for like a full like sleeve or like a full piece on your leg. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm for it. So we did the alien first, and then we did the robot. And then I'm like, dude, I want like an alien like crash into like a spaceship and like a scene. So he did that on my lower side of my leg, around my ankle and like the feet, kind of like where your foot and your feet kind of like connect.
Yeah.
And when he first did like the outline and the shading, I was in pain, dude. It's freaking.
Oh, are you talking about like your Achilles? Like
yeah.
the back, that tendon?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that.
That part. So at first I was like, fuck, like this is the worst idea ever. So this is like 2 or 3 years ago that he did that. And since then I've been pushing it back. I'm in like, oh yeah, let's go get it colored in. And once I'm there, I'm like, let's do something different. So far I've already had like 3 or 4 different tattoos before finishing that up.
Right.
But yesterday I was like, let's just finish it up. And it sucked. It was 2 hours of just suckiness. And it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die pain, but it's just like, this is straight up sucks right now.
Pretty
like,
uncomfortable. I'm
straight up not having a good time right now. But 2 hour session. Yesterday it's just walking on it hella sucked. Today not so bad. Tomorrow I'm gonna be removing the bandages on it. And then, but dude, it came out so sick, so I'm stoked. And then hopefully we're gonna add a back piece to it, like a background to it, and then we'll call it a day on this pretty big leg tattoo. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked, dude. So but yeah, dude, you know me and tattoos. I love getting them done. So
I want to get more. I'm trying to get more. So I also heard Paco XL is in a San Leandro shop now.
Really?
I heard that.
That'll bring it back to full circle.
He still owns Death Before Dishonor, but I believe he's working in San Leandro at like one of the a pretty famous one too.
Okay.
He joined up some. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because some of my people at work tell me about stuff because they're into tattoos and they're like, they know more about it than I do too. So they're like, oh yeah, he's in San Leandro, and I saw his post on Instagram too, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's closer. I can hit him up, but I need to get on it because I've been wanting to get some more stuff, and I do have ideas.
Yeah, I always have ideas. It only comes down to like if my buddy has like time to actually do it and stuff. Because I like to keep with like my same buddy. Depending on the style I want, definitely go
Right.
with my same. But definitely want to go back to our friend Matt, so he can do more traditional stuff on me as well.
Yeah, I want to
Or
get more from
Japanese
Matt
style,
too.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely some more Japanese style also on my leg or something. That'd be pretty dope.
Maybe I'll get a Godzilla.
You know, why not?
That'd be
Why
cool.
not? Maybe
Playing
like the
guitar or
Megazord from
something.
freaking the Megazord fighting Godzilla or something.
Yeah. Or I could have my dog fighting him. I don't know. Some stupid
So
shit.
many
My
choices.
dog with a shotgun.
So many choices.
Told you I got ideas. They might not be good, but they are ideas.
Ideas. Yeah, that's.
Um,
I mean, you're promising. How about your week, man? How have you been?
my week's been good, dude, to the point where I was kind of detached from my workflow, which is good. It's good to get a break and step away from things so you can clear your head. It was really good to spend time with the family, take a little drinks of seltzer. No, it was nice to get away to Yosemite because me and my sons haven't been there. My wife has been there once, but that was like years ago. So it was really cool to really go out there, experience all of that, the nature of Half Dome and El Capitan. I mean, it's just crazy to think those people fucking rappel and scale that shit.
Yeah.
Because it's when you go there and look, it's crazy. It's tall. It's a big ass freaking, summit.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Like it's just grand. That's probably one of the best ways to describe Yosemite. Is it's a very grand scene of nature. Like you got a waterfall. I mean, it's like, damn, dude, this is like an untouched, and that's why it's a national park. It's just an untouched part of nature that it just still can be amazing because we're not fucking turning it into a fucking a gift shop.
Yeah.
But there are gift shops there, but they're not in the park.
Yeah. I think it was John Muir who said, Europe has its castles and cathedrals. The America's cathedrals is Mother Nature. And that's why he was always like so like wanted to preserve it, especially like these national parks and stuff, which basically they knew that these lands and these areas were sacred to the indigenous people. So they kind of saw, like, okay, well, if they're into this and they obviously know something's up about this, they have to be right. So
Right.
I think it's very important for us to preserve nature, and I think it's something that once I got older, I learned to appreciate a little bit more. Like, I think when I was like in my 20s and my teens, it was always like, oh, I want to go to the big city and just go out and bar and stuff. Now I'm older, I'm like, let's, like, rather than taking the Highway 5 to LA, like, I like taking the 101.
Yeah, that's definitely more scenic.
Yeah.
And that's what was cool too, is driving up there. I was like, kind of like, there were parts where you were like, it's kind of dry. You got to go through the valley, but then once you get out of the valley and you're in like Stanislaus Forest, it's like 20 miles of driving through forest to get into there. So it's kind of like the opening scenes of The Shining. So it's really super lush and just but it's not scary. It's only scary at night. But I never got scared. I was always at peace. I always thought it was peaceful. But I could see how if you were in the park, because we weren't in the park, we were outside, just outside the park, and like these cabins.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, we thought about it and we're like, I don't want to do tents with a 1-year-old. Like, that's too much, man.
Yeah.
And so when he's older, sure, but that's too much. So we kind of glamped it a little, but it was tight because when you got a baby and a young one, it's a lot easier, and then you don't got to worry about bears and all that shit. Yeah. But we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of activities near the area we were at, which was good for the kids and good for us to hang out. Mm-hmm. I posted a bunch of stuff on Instagram, which kind of summarized it. It had a couple videos in it, but it was a much needed R&R, and it was also like a week off because we were only doing that for 3 days. So we had a couple family parties. But when you go to family parties and you don't have to go to work, it's like you can really enjoy the time that you're spending with everyone. So it was really just a very good quality time span of 7 days.
Hell yeah, dude.
So a good reason to be late on the pod, but it was kind of a balance. So now I feel a little more crisp, and since I've been playing more guitar, and reading, today I read 40 pages.
Oh,
I'm trying, man. So I think
right
all
on.
these things are going to help me psychologically be happier, and obviously we are musical people, so we enjoy our musical talents sharpening.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
know you can relate to that in some ways, but
Yeah, and I think we'll be hypocritical if we didn't take our mental wellness first and like take a little break, to do a little R and like enjoy nature and enjoy stuff that we like to do, like hobbies and stuff.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, dude, it's always fun sharpening up your skills on your whatever
on
instruments
your art,
you
right?
play. Yeah, your
Yeah.
art. I'm still thinking because I still got like not blisters, but when you haven't played like for a while and you get the little callus or
Oh,
what's it
dude, it's
called?
so good. It's such a good feeling when you're rebuilding your calluses.
Yeah, I mean, when you're working in it and like your fingertips are all red and shit, like that sucks. But now I'm like, okay, yeah,
It's
I get
kind of
this.
like though. It's kind of like getting blisters after working a hard day. Like, yeah, it
Yeah,
sucks, but then you're like, yeah, I'm a manly
yeah.
man.
Look at me now. Look at me
And we
now.
came full circle. Hey,
Yeah.
you're lucky we came at all. No, I'm kidding. So so let's get into the beginning of this, which is the sports that we like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can go first because my list is kind of short. Because I
Sure.
want to say I like a lot of sports, but I'm answering this as far as like how in depth I know it. I could be like
Okay.
confident about talking to people at a bar, which is I
Yeah.
feel like kind of like what the point of this part is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say it's pretty limited for me, but I would say it's NFL football, man. Or I guess you could
Mm-hmm.
say football in general, but NFL football is pretty much me. I'm your
Yeah.
basic American, except for the baseball part because I'm a poser baseball fan. I like baseball, but football is kind of my bread and butter. I understand the plays. I appreciate the physicality of it. Um, and well, no, and I also like bowling because I did bowling, so I'll throw that
Yeah.
in there. It's not like so much as like an Adonis sport by any
Mm-hmm.
means, because
Yeah.
pro bowlers look like the same people that are on Megan's Law, but I mean, it's it's rough, dude. If you ever watch one of those tournaments,
Yeah.
those guys are all very questionable looking men, like
Yeah.
scary little mustache with a weird 1970s cut, and it's like 2020.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on, dude?
Like, bro, you still live in the 90s.
You're looking
You
like
really.
John Wayne Gacy over here.
Yeah, come on.
Nice
Perfect.
710 pickup, though, bro. No,
Hey, you know what's funny, dude? I've always so I mean, we all have gone bowling,
right.
with friends and stuff. I've never really joined a league, but I have friends and family members who are in the league and stuff like that.
Hell
And
yeah.
they love it. They go like every Tuesday, I think they go and you know, they have a good time. And of course, they invite me and I'm barely breaking like 110, 120
That's
in
not
there.
bad if you're not bowling all the time. I'm going to be
Really?
honest. I mean, it's not a good score, Danny, but the fact that you're breaking triple digits,
Yeah.
I've seen people that don't bowl don't even get out higher than a 50 or 60. So
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, you're not bragging about your score, but you're not
No.
terrible.
No. And then but compared these fools are like
Yeah, but
215,
they're playing every
like
week.
yeah, they're like
So give
200.
yourself
You're
some
like,
credit.
I
Yeah.
suppose. I suppose. But like one thing I've always wanted to do because one of my favorite movies is Kingpin.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing movie. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I've always wanted to go to Reno and see this freaking bowling championship. And like I've seen the arena and I'm like, fuck, I hella want to go see it. Like it might be cheesy, but like it just seems fun because it's a sport that we understand.
Yeah.
It's a sport we understand. We know how difficult those splits are and like how much pressure it is to freaking bowl a turkey and all this shit. So
Right.
it's definitely like it'll be something I would like to experience once, hopefully soon.
I mean, Reno's not that far. And
No,
I
it's
think
like a
they'll start doing
4 hour
those
drive.
again.
Yeah, it's a 4 hour drive.
Yeah. If that.
Yeah.
So what are your sports that you like, Danny?
So my two sports that I can like confident talk about players and all this stuff. Number one is obviously soccer.
Hmm.
I got the soccer podcast going on. So like I feel comfortable talking about teams and players from the Mexican League, also, a little bit of MLS, but also just players internationally, all players and national teams right now. Like right now in the soccer community, there's a tournament called the Euros, the European championship, with like all the top teams from Europe to play against each other. So seeing that in the morning, like that's amazing. And then in the evenings, you have Copa America, which is the South American equivalent of that Euro Cup. So I have soccer all around.
Wow, that is cool.
Then you have another North American tournament coming up in a couple of weeks called Copa de Oro, the Gold Cup, if you will. And then of course, like Mexico right now is doing like a U.S. tour, so Mexico's playing every other day, and then the Olympics are coming. So soccer is definitely like one of my favorite sports, which
Hell
I
yeah.
can like I feel comfortable talking, understand the tactics, understand the understand everything about it. Well, mostly. I
Hey,
won't.
I'm
Um,
recording, bud.
is that's
Do you
cool.
want to show yourself since you interrupted everything?
Hey, buddy. You
Dane
can't hear
says
me,
hi.
but hey.
What?
All right, go back down. I'll be back in a minute. All right.
There you go.
Oh, my bad, dude. I heard him coming up the stairs, and I was hoping someone was gonna stop him.
No,
My
it's
bad,
cool.
dude. Can you?
Hey, hey, you're father first before anything, so it's okay.
Yeah, my kid doesn't give a shit. He's like a velociraptor. He opens doors like it's no problem.
No, clever girl. Well, I
Yeah.
guess in your no, I once saw this educator speak at Santa Clara University, and he brought his kids, and he said like, "Oh, just to let you guys know, I have my two boys with me, and they will be coming up on stage with me and pull me aside. So if I have to stop to answer them, like, I want you to know, like, they're my number one priority. Like, talking
Hmm.
to you guys are awesome, but like, I'm a father first, and
Right.
I'm their father. So respectfully, they can come at me anytime to ask me questions, just like I can,
Yeah.
check 'em out. So I think that was a really cool perspective, and he took it from like the indigenous perspective also, where like these like warriors and chiefs will sit around, but you'll have your kid come up and ask you questions and be like, "Oh no, I need to attend
Right.
the child,"
That's true.
Um, so like every time like that happens, I'm like, whatever. Especially like working digital or working
Oh yeah, like via
digitally in the
Zoom
past
and all
year.
that.
Like God knows how many times I've been doing like a lessons, and like my mom comes in, or like my niece will come in, and I'm like, oh hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
You get used to
Um,
it.
yeah, but yeah, soccer number one soccer, and then the second sport is baseball. Actually,
Nice.
um, I do like baseball. I try to catch as many Dodger games, because that's my team. But also, I like watching like um the baseball highlights at the end. And I know some people might think it is a boring ass sport or something, and it could be. It's just I think like with any sport, there's some sports that are kind of not as entertaining as others.
Right.
Um, it, during like certain aspects and stuff. But I like baseball. Like I understand the pitching, like I understand the runnings, the rules, the good plays where people like, oh my god, what an amazing play, and you're like, dude, that was just like a catch.
Right.
But I think I really like that, and I enjoy talking about it also.
Yeah, all the
Saying it. So
fielding.
yeah, exactly. Like who's a good pitcher, who's not so good of a pitcher, ERAs and all this stuff. So yeah, I think those are my main two sports where like I like to sit down and actually watch it.
Hell yeah. Well, how did you get into sports?
So with baseball, um our town, our town from Mexico. I know everybody thinks that Mexicans only play like soccer or something, but no, like my town, that baseball is the sport,
Yeah.
like we have a little small baseball team, and like whenever it's baseball season, like everybody's at that fucking stadium.
That's
So
what's up.
and my dad is I remember like living in Long Beach, and like my dad watching like the Dodgers in the 80s, you know, like so I think that's where it came, just like, you know, mimicking my father, and like when I would go to Mexico and mimicking what was hot out there.
Right.
And then with soccer, actually I didn't get into soccer until like 1994. During the World Cup 1994 that happened here in the United States. Prior to that, like I wasn't really aware or wasn't really interested in soccer, but like watching the World Cup being played here in the United States, and like, you know, Brazil versus like, you know, Italy, and seeing like all these major ass teams, I think that's where my love for that sport actually started. And like I always talked about, like I don't have like a club. Like sure, I do enjoy seeing one team or another play, and you know, I root for them, but I think for me, I'm always more interested in the national teams rather than like the clubs.
So more
If that
like
makes sense.
Olympic style.
Exactly, because that's where I was first introduced to sport, like
Oh, okay.
international or international play, rather than just clubs versus clubs.
So who's your internet? Is it Mexico?
Yeah, 100% Mexico. I love watching Mexico play. I mean, even though they're nothing but heartbreaks or heartaches. But I also enjoy watching like a lot of these European teams, like France, Germany,
Yeah.
Italy, Spain.
I was gonna say European teams are probably pretty stacked, huh?
They're stacked when it comes to names, but a lot of things people need to remember also is like South American teams are pretty stacked also.
Oh,
like,
fuck yeah. Well, they invented the sport, right?
No, so you know who invented the sport? Actually, it
Huh.
was jolly old England.
Oh, it is England.
Yeah, it's
Fuck,
in England.
fuck them. You know, that's why I don't feel
Fuck
bad
them.
not knowing that. Like,
Yeah,
they brag enough about shit.
yeah, they do.
Give them another
and
one, I guess.
and right now they're pretty high up there with the European tournament right now going on. So they're going, oh, it's coming back home. It's coming
Like,
back
don't
home.
worry. We invented baseball, too, because it's a fucking bastard version of cricket.
It's cricket or
Oh, fuck you.
oh, you play this American football, handball.
Yeah, I'm
Have
like,
you ever
dude,
heard
look.
of rugby? Huh?
Hey,
Oh,
one of the
that's
original oppressors. Of course, you invented everything. Go fuck
Of
yourself.
course. Yeah. You know what? They're probably somebody else invented it.
They just took
stole
the ball and the stick
Exactly. They changed the name and they said, this is our sport now. But what about you, dude? What got you into sports?
Hey, I mean, to be honest, that's how golf was invented, right? It was the Scots,
Scotland,
right? Yeah, they're like, here, you poor bastards, go play with a stick and I'll fucking dig a hole in the ground and bury yourself in it later.
Robin Williams does a great skit about the invention of freaking golf.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, I think that was on his stand-up from like 2002 or something, right?
Yeah.
I remember that one. Live on Broadway, I think.
Yeah. He's, oh, you fucking whack it with a stick, you know.
Yeah, he's acting all drunk.
Yeah. He's like, you know, a Scottish invented that shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude, they
it's
were
gonna be
fucked up.
Soft is gonna be easy.
So,
He's all-
sidebar before I get into my thing. That's totally what I was bitching to Steph about when I had my rant. Remember I had my rant about those white people on that golf course?
Yeah.
I was like, the irony, babe, of this bullshit is it's a poor fucking man's sport that once again
Yeah.
got taken over by rich people.
Yeah,
It's a
was
fucking poor man's
genocide or
sport.
something. Yeah.
And it became a fucking white collar sport. You got to be rich to play golf now.
No, and
It's
and
crazy.
It's this big like it's this big like you need to have the right gear, you know, the right, you know. I guess
Well,
that's
and
what
it's a
they
status
sport.
thing too because all the famous people. I mean, you gotta know how to golf, man.
Yeah.
You want to hang out. You want to hang out with all these other people. It's like, come on, dude.
No.
Well, these
And
poor
the
Scottish people made that shit up.
And you know, you have to put like you have to be like what's like waitlist for this like prestige freaking places and stuff. I'm not knocking anybody who plays golf or anything.
No, me
but-
neither. But I mean, hey, you're going to call yourself a sport. We're going to talk about it.
But I mean, in a way, all sports are like that. It all started with like a poor and rundown, and then like it got taken over by like.
Well, not all, because we could save it for later. I'm going to save this
Okay.
banter for later because I think it's going to tie into something. But definitely, there are some sports you could definitely argue that weren't. You could definitely argue weren't started for poor people.
Yeah.
But we'll put a pin in that one.
All right.
How did I get into sports? Because we were getting juicy.
Yeah.
Well, so I was into bowling first because, as you can tell by my physique and my general knowledge of sports in general,
Sports,
I'm not
yeah.
very athletic.
Mhm.
I got into bowling first because I was actually in a PAL league. I was in a fucking league.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to remember what my high score was, and I think I broke 200 once or twice, maybe.
Oh, nice.
No, not maybe. I have broke 200 once or twice, and it was without bumpers, and I did have the foul thing that was able to happen. All right, so it was legit. I was decent. My form's never been that great, but I feel like once again with that athletic thing, you really got form is a very hard thing to develop. And anyway, without getting too nerdy about it, I really like bowling, and I'm glad that was something I was thrown into because I could really. It's kind of nice for kids that aren't athletic, but then it's also nice for kids that are because I feel like it's for everybody in that sense. Yeah. And I guess in a sense of like bragging. Sure, it's better and worse. Who's better and who's worse? It's always a competition, but I feel like out of all of them, it's a pretty nice. I mean, you could be shit faced by the way and play and bowl, but I'm gonna go into more depth about that as well later. But football for me, which was a lot sexier to like, I didn't really get into. I was turned off by it for so long because I just was scared about it. I couldn't catch a fucking football if it saved my life.
Yeah.
Now I can catch a football, but it's just like there's certain things, like I'm not going to blame my upbringing, but in a way it's kind of like I wish my folks would have pushed me into understanding why organized sports are important because I do feel like for children, especially developing social skills and just overall skills, physical skills, it's a great thing to harness that. And even if your kid doesn't like it, it's kind of like social team building, and it's also like pick another sport. If one doesn't work, there's probably another one out there that does because they're not all the same. But I got into football like it was like middle school, and it's gonna sound hella corny, but I got into it from like movies. I kept looking at like quarterbacks and being like, dude, I want to be someone who's like looked at like, oh, that dude's awesome. Like he can handle shit. He can throw it, and then like I grew up in the era of Joe Montana. So watching Shane Falco as the fictional quarterback, like be such an underdog, like build his team up and do shit. Like that movie spoke to me. And like I've mentioned this before that it's one of my favorite films, but that movie made me feel like, you know what? I could do it. And it's not total bullshit, but I didn't put forth effort enough at all to fucking even try. So I was about 13, and I even tried out for my high school football team junior year. Yeah, junior year.
Mm-hmm.
I was really gonna do it, man. My math teacher, who was also the varsity coach, kept telling me like the first 2 years of high school, he's all, "You should play football. You got a big frame." And I was just like, "Okay, sure." Like you just want bodies out there because you guys suck.
Yeah.
But I was like, maybe he's right. And then looking back, he for sure was right. I had a huge frame. I just wasn't filled out, but I didn't have confidence, dude. So I finally got more friends that were on the team, and they were like, "Just come out." So I went to one of my mom's favorite Mexican places for lunch. And in Milpitas, it's called Lupita's, and it's on.
Okay,
yeah. That place is pretty good. But we used to get enchiladas there. So my dumbass ate mole enchiladas before I went to fucking football practice, the first football practice in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I just ate a whole plate of enchiladas, enchiladas aren't light.
No, it's a pretty heavy food.
I made it probably halfway through that fucking practice. I was cramping up. I puked 3 times, and it wasn't because I was dehydrated. Or I ate too fucking much.
Yeah.
And I was pushing myself too much. I was sore from that practice for 3 days. My legs were killing me because I didn't work my legs out at all ever.
Yeah.
So I never did it again. I never went back. But I've always like teaching my kids now. I'm showing them, important things about like catching a ball, and because it's just like something you need to have down. You should be able to catch things.
And then going from like bowling, which is more of an individual sport, to like football, I think that's also too drastic. They're
Well,
two different.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even get to the point where we were practicing individual positions. I mean, this was just to make it onto the team, and I was already out of it.
Yeah, no. I'm
you're
talking
totally
about, like,
right. Yeah, on that sense.
But yeah, I'm talking about like you grew up playing bowling and stuff, and then like you can tell where like if you look back, like, oh, you weren't so confident, or to try out for football, you didn't know how to catch or throw football or something prior to that. Like it might have been also because your sport you mostly focused on was individual driven rather than like group driven and stuff like that.
Which, if you think about it, should be scarier when it's individual.
I think so.
Because if you're in
right.
a tournament, I bet you that's got to be scary. You could choke
100%.
easy, dude.
But like, how much confidence do you have? Like, all right, if I'm losing, it's because of my skill, not because I'm depending on somebody else.
True, but I don't think any football player is ever depending on someone else. They're never going to say that. I mean, you know it's true to a point, but I don't think any pro athlete would ever like blame, or a good pro athlete would never blame someone else unless they completely fucked up like a complete asshole, which has happened. Which happened.
Lays this out, Dan.
Ray Finkel.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams for the 49ers against the Giants in 2011. 3 fumbles in the playoff game. We would have won that game. We would have won the game. We would have probably beat the Patriots. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, I was just thinking.
Yeah, that's the point.
Movie, I was thinking of the movie Airborne. I'm not sure if you ever seen that movie.
Yeah, the rollerblading movie, right?
Yeah, the rollerblading. Seth Green's in it.
Jack Black's in it. Yep.
I was just thinking like how they brought in the California kid and he like scored his own goal, and then for the rest of the school year they were just fucking with him. I think it's just such a great movie, such a great '90s movie.
Great movie because it ends with an epic race.
Oh, of course,
epic race though. Like okay, so you talk about inline skates. Perfect thing to bring up. Not so manly. I mean, yeah, not so manly, I guess.
Well, no.
I guess if you're comparing them to roller skates, they're more manly.
I think rollerblading manly because we grew up seeing like the X Games and like watching freaking what's that movie from Disney Channel? Brink. Yeah, Brink, and we saw those sports about rollerblading. Rollerblading was kind of an it thing when we were growing up. Roller skating though wasn't so manly though. I think I will.
Okay, that's true. Maybe I'm wrong. But you know what's weird is roller skating now is popularized again, and I think it's brought back in the hip-hop community like it was for disco and funk in the 80s.
Yeah.
People are doing the rinks again.
Or rollerblading?
Roller skating. Okay. And I've been seeing more and more kids with roller skates, not inline skates.
And I know we can talk shit. Oh, it's so manly, but I mean, you still got those roller derbies going on every freaking week. Like those leagues never went on, and that shit looks freaking intense.
But this is why I'm gonna say I'm gonna make a claim right now. It might sound a little crazy. Roller skating, I think, is manlier than rollerblading, and I'm gonna tell you why. Main reason, main argument: the brakes in the front. That takes balls. You gotta tip your shoe. You gotta tip your foot and put your weight forward. But what if you're going downhill?
Yeah. Oh,
dude,
forget about it.
People do it. But that's what I mean. Like with rollerblades, you lean back. That's a coward's way out. Like I could do that shit. But I'm saying like you do roller skates. By the way, I can't ride a fucking roller. I can't do inline skates. I'm just talking shit.
I was gonna say I don't know how to use either. So this is way beyond my comprehension.
Well, leave it to the Caucasian guy to help you out. But that's what I'm here for.
Tell me how to do the sport. No, but
dude, bowling was on my list. Come on.
No, I never learned how to do either of those, and I think because like I don't know, I just wasn't there. My brother was a pretty good rollerblader, actually.
I never knew how to do tricks or go in a fucking skate park with them, dude. I'm never gonna. Not gonna
you know what? I see him now, like, because I was always like, oh, skateboarding looks more fucking hard. But like, I look now, like these kids, what they're doing with like the rollerblades and even like the Razor scooters. I'm like, this shit looks fucking intense. I love it.
It is intense and it's awesome, but I think skateboarding is way cooler. I'm never gonna change my mind.
Yeah, I'm not gonna change my
mind.
And
I started as a person who did inline skating first because I didn't have a skateboard until I was like 10.
Yeah.
But it's so much cooler, so much harder, and in a way, a little better because if you need to bail, you just jump off. You can't fucking jump off skates.
No, they're You become the skate.
Like if you're lucky, there's grass. That's the only way you're like, oh, cool, I can go on the grass and it'll stop me, and I won't. Otherwise, mostly everything's flat. You're just gonna keep going, dude.
Yeah.
So it's eat shit or keep going. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No.
That's a tough one. By the way, this shit talking is more for fun than it is real. I have no disrespect for inline skates. This is what we're doing. This is called banter, and this is what we do.
Yeah.
But how do you think the sport, like as a culture, influences you?
I mean, when it comes to soccer, it influences me obviously with my friends that I have and like the activities I'm in, definitely watching it, being aware of it and, being a part of this like Twitter community that talks about soccer and like being a podcaster about it, it definitely like influences me, with the culture and like knowing about these players. And it's like, it's such a common sport that you can find somebody who kind of like can relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with baseball. I think baseball's like, it's the all-American pastime, it's like, so when it comes to culture of, when it comes about, baseball is like, okay, yeah, like you understand it. Is for me, when I think about baseball, it's like, there's nothing more American than baseball.
Yeah.
It's some of the best athletes play here in the United States. Granted, some of the best baseball players are not from the United States. Some of them are from the Caribbeans or South America, or Asia. But I mean,
Haiti.
the majority are Americans. But I think that's where, when it comes to as far as influence, it's definitely like influences me in like the lingo and the subculture, if you will, like of. The whole going to a baseball game, I think is like a process. It's not just like you're going to show up and that's it. I think that's with any sport, though. Like, you kind of prep for it, especially if it's a sport that you care for and you understand it. Like, because I've been to like basketball games and baseball games, and basketball games and like hockey games, and I just show up. There's not like a big thing where like, if I'm going to watch a soccer game, like I like to go a couple minutes, like an hour early before the game starts,
right?
So I can, meet up with my friends that I know, grab a beer, watch the team kind of warm up. Same thing with baseball also.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm not really sure if that answered the question, but definitely like.
No, definitely. Well, yeah, I mean, how does it influence you? Like, so that's more like how you enjoy it live.
Yeah. And I mean, it definitely it influences me with like, as far as my activities, if we're going to talk about soccer, like obviously, my hobbies are podcasting about soccer,
right?
So that influences me a lot. Saturday mornings, like watching European soccer games, with my cup of coffee, or, in the afternoons also like having a beer and watching soccer games, and it becomes like this lingo, especially me teaching in East San Jose where the Latinx population is so high,
mm-hmm.
and it's a popular sport amongst them also. Like it really helps me like connect with my students and be more relatable to them. Like if they know soccer and not just one league but like all together, like I think it's more relatable in that sense.
Yeah, that's true. It for me, it influences me in a weird mental way, like because I know football, I kind of understand plays and like how they execute. I also understand positions, so I kind of apply that stuff to stuff like, I don't know, it's weird. I guess I apply it to like, not directly to things, but I apply it to like functions. Like I want to come up with game plans, and I know it's almost like playing chess. You want to know like the whole system of moves, not just a line of moves, because you know that you're going to have to adapt every play. It's not just going to be you can figure out your game plan throughout the whole game. You're going to have to go play by play sometimes because they're kicking your ass or they're answering back. So I like the strategy of like football. It's kind of like a war game because you're you're assembling lines and you're taking, who's taking the flag or who's taking the field advantage, which is totally old school war. That's totally how they fought battles back in the day, which was stupid, but let's blame the English for that as well. Let's stand in a line so they can all shoot us. Yeah, but
The information, yo.
fucking redcoats. I'm never letting it go. But it also kind of influenced me in a way that, in a way of camaraderie.
Yeah.
I think camaraderie, and I think that's what you were saying too about meeting
Yeah,
up with
I
your
think
friends
so.
and drinking beer.
Yeah.
That's totally the social aspect of it. That is the aspect, I think, that keeps you as a fan, even
Yeah.
when your team sucks or you lose a game. You still had a good time. Yeah, you're bitched out, but overall, you're happy. You went. You watched it. You hung out with your friends. You had a few beers.
It's like the whole community aspect of it also. Like just going back to like in Twitter, I'm involved with the community, the League MX in the English community. So, anytime there's soccer games going on, like everybody's online tweeting and is like, oh, this person said this. Like, oh, of course that person said this or that,
Yeah.
So in that sense, I love that culture, like I'm networking, talking to people, like people I've never met who I consider friends. So,
Yeah, dude.
that's for me, that's awesome. But it's interesting that you're saying how football kind of influences you how to like organize your day. Because I have a buddy, one of my best friends, he used to play basketball for college, coached
Right.
it. He played in high school, college, coaches it and whatever. And every aspect he does, like, is always like sport. It's kind of like he breaks it down like a sport, like. So we were, he also jams with me. He's also he plays guitar in my band,
Hell yeah.
and he goes, he's like, okay, well, I want, like, he wants to really record something, have it displays, like, for me, like, that's for, like, he wants to basically say, like, 20 years from now, like, he wants that to show, like, his kids, like, oh yeah, this is something I did. And I'm like, dude, that's like, I'm a bastard sports mentality. You're just looking at that as your trophy.
Right.
Like, you just want a trophy. Like, for me, like one of my best memories, I'm not gonna be showing my kids like, oh yeah, this is a band that I used to be in, and like, sure, I have some demos that I can show them, but for me, it's more creating. It's not really like showing a product. It's kind of like being involved with it. So
Right.
like a couple weeks ago, like I was just messing around with my guitar, plugged it in, and I'm just jamming, and I'm playing my guitar, and then my niece is right here next to me, and she has my ukulele, and she's just like, playing nonsense,
Yeah.
but she's like, she's jamming,
Right.
quote unquote, she's
Exactly.
jamming. Kind of like you with your kids, or you guys were doing this for Father's Day, where the boys are just kind of like making noise and not hitting.
Oh,
like,
that's totally what it was. But it was fun.
And so it's not like, and that's something I was trying to explain to my buddy. I'm like, dude, like 20 years from now, like your kids or something, they're not gonna care about a fucking album. Like,
Yeah.
like that might think it's cool, but they're not gonna like care about that. They're gonna mostly remember like that impromptu jam sessions. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can show your kids like, oh, this is the trophy your dad won, and so in 2006. No one gives a fuck. Like, I
Yeah.
think your kid will value more like you going out there and actually like shooting some hoops with them,
Right.
or
Playing
or her,
catch or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think those are more, and not even like putting them into sports, like actually taking your time and like doing the
Yeah,
sport
like
or doing the activity
and
with
like
them.
bonding.
I think I mean, I might
That's
be
a good
talking on
point.
my ass.
No, that's good because that's probably the grand answer to this. How does sport culture influence us as a man?
Mhm.
And it's definitely also camaraderie, and it's getting people together and doing something productive. It's therapeutic to a lot of people, and
And I think you're right, dude. Like, shit, the whole reason why I pay extra amount of money a year to watch Dodger games on my television is so I can sit down with my dad and watch it.
yeah,
You know, and my dad, he's one of those fans that he loves the team so much that he hates them, basically.
yeah,
It's not like, oh, how the team's gonna win today. No, it's how they're gonna fuck it up today. That's the type of dad I have when it
well,
comes to like.
at least they won the big one.
They did, but of course my dad doesn't consider that. I mean, he does low key consider it like a real deal, but he's like, no, I want the regular season one.
Your
You know,
dad's
so-
your dad's got like tally marks of every time they've won and lost.
yeah, he remembers and he goes,
He's got
oh
a prison
no.
wall.
My dad's like, oh no, you want a good hitter? Oh, 1986. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was having a conversation with them. I'm like, hey, Dad, who's your favorite? Like,
87 was a
player?
good year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
88 actually.
Was 88? Oh, it was 88 because 89 was the year the A's won.
The A's one, yeah.
88 was the year you guys beat the A's. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when Kirk Gibson did the infamous chainsaw kind of thing. But I was asking my dad, I'm like, hey, Dad, like, for you, who's like your all-time favorite baseball player? And I was expecting him to say like fucking Fernando Valenzuela or like Hershiser or something, but he goes, oh no, Pete Rose.
Ooh.
Pete Rose.
Fuck
He goes,
yeah.
he wasn't a slugger, but boy, can he freaking deliver like hits, like a single or a double. He was always on base, and and if there was people on base already, like dude, like there's a reason why his ERA was so high and shit. So like now because of that, now I'm like, you know what, Dad, you're right. Pete Rose was the best player, and I'm like, oh, Cal Ripken Jr. was the best player, and
Right.
like rather than looking at this big time, like,
Dude, well, Pete Rose doesn't get the love. See, the people that like your dad who grew up around Pete Rose, and I didn't grow up with him, but I've heard people talk about him.
yeah, same.
It's everyone adores him. Like he was loved. He was probably one of the most popular baseball players of all time.
Yeah.
And because of his fucking betting and him being blacklisted out of baseball, which by the way, baseball's politics, whether you love the sport or not, probably one of the worst fucking politics in sports.
Absolutely.
But they kind of chastised the guy, man, and they really tried to bury him, and it's like you can't bury. I mean, dude, look, this is what annoys me once again, and maybe I'm making it racial, maybe not, but OJ's accolades are celebrated. Why aren't Pete Rose's? Pete Rose didn't kill anybody. It's just annoying. He bet against his fucking team. I don't know. Also, he can't be in the Hall of Fame, but all this ranting.
Blacklisted.
I wanted to tell you, I was on Facebook, and it's rarely a good thing when I'm on Facebook, but
Yeah,
Pete Rose does cameos. You should have him call your dad.
I saw that.
And I don't think he's not like cheap, but he's not like super expensive. So
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I wonder what. At the same time though, because I saw the picture, I'm like, Pete, how you looking now though, buddy? Like, if you got oxygen on, I don't know if you want to be calling anybody.
I think I'll probably do it for my dad's birthday next year.
See that's cool.
That'd be pretty stoked. Like,
You know what you should do? You should. This is gonna sound fucked up. You should do it now, for your dad's birthday. But just in case he dies, give it to him just in case. And then, and then on his birthday, he still gets Pete Rose. Because then how bummed are you gonna be if Pete Rose bites it, and then you didn't get to do the video, and it'll be like a will because he's already gone.
Yeah,
But
he's
then
already
he's wishing your dad a happy birthday after he's gone.
yeah,
Dude, that would be the creepiest, funniest thing ever.
It'll be like one of those. Okay, I've cried to this video, and I'm pretty sure you cried too. And I dare one of our listeners to say they never cried about this, but there's this video of this kid on his 16th birthday. He goes to pick up a guitar that his dad purchased for him like a long time ago. He knew he was gonna die. I think it was like a Diamondback replica or something.
Oh, like a
Razorback.
Razorback?
Razorback. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And so he goes, happy birthday, and he reads this letter that his dad left him. I guess dad knew he was going to pass away.
Yeah.
So he left him a letter like, happy birthday, buddy. Sorry I can't be there, but, here's something. And that boy starts crying. He starts fucking bawling. And I'm like, respectfully, because I will be bawling too. So it's just like thinking like, dude, look how badass his dad, like the dad as his last, like he knew he was going to pass away, but he didn't want to like leave him without something. Like, so here's like his 16th birthday.
That's special.
Guitar.
Yeah.
And the kids just fucking bawling. The mom, like even the Guitar Center workers, they're fucking bawling also.
Well, even the guitar was crying.
Yeah,
So
still
stupid.
my guitar gently weeps.
Leave it to me to ruin a beautiful moment.
Hey, you know what? But you bring up a good point. If that kid is not playing the fucking guitar solo to that song,
hit him with it.
He's fucking up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're fucking up.
Now it's a weapon.
Yeah, of mass destruction. But yeah, it's a cool video. I ugly cry to it all the time when I see it. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, dude, I ugly cried all kinds of stuff. I ugly cry to like SVU, not SVU, but the content of SVU, like anything relating to that subject matter is always tough on me. And then racial stuff's always tough on me. Like I watched the Billie Holiday movie.
Yeah.
Which I told Steph, I was like, Shaw, let's watch this. I'm all, if you didn't want to watch the other one, this ain't because I didn't watch it, but I knew a little bit about Billie Holiday. I'm all, this ain't no feel-good movie. And it was way more depressing. It was so well done, but it was way more depressing than I even proclaimed. So,
you know what's funny? Yeah. I love watching videos, and this ties back to what we were talking about. Like, I love watching videos of when athletes make like the kids' days.
Right.
Like I love that, dude.
Oh, like,
I love that.
Like, yeah, like when they surprise them, or if they're sick, or
yeah, or like they give them like a fucking bat or something, or like and for me, I'm just like, I always see that. I'm like, dude, that's such a small gesture for these fucking like millionaire athletes. But it means like the world to these people.
Yeah, and it might make that kid want to play football, or
especially like children with like special needs, or like really, I'm like, dude, one of the great stories, and I love the story, and I know I probably will get shit for it because it's Cristiano Ronaldo, but
not for me.
One of the greatest stories was that Cristiano, he gets a letter from like a fan's like, hey, my kid just had like a surgery, or he needs surgery. Will you be willing to donate one of your shoes so we can like auction it or something?
Right.
So Ronaldo's got a hold of the story. He went on to pay for the fucking whole surgery himself. He paid for the whole surgery, and then he still raised money for the family. So that way like mom and dad can take like a year off, so and still be financially.
Yeah, and I mean, for the people that think he did that just for the PR, that's kind of extremely hate. Because, dude, you don't need to do all that work to get the PR. He could have just sent money from his agent or done something shady. I'm just saying, like, it's a personal gesture that he definitely made that should be appreciated, right?
And I think a lot of these athletes also, regardless of what sport, a lot of these athletes, they come from nothing.
Right.
It's the ultimate Cinderella story. Like my classmate, James Jones, he went on to win the Super Bowl with the Packers, graduated in Gunderson, class of 2002.
Wait, your classmate? What was his name?
James Jones.
Oh, what was his middle name?
He was no middle name.
It wasn't James. I thought you said James Earl Jones at first. I was like, dude, that's so cool.
I want to say he was either number 85 or 88 with the Packers, but then he went on to play for like the Raiders for like one season.
No, dude, I know who James Jones is. Yeah. I just was being an idiot. But wait, he was your classmate?
Yeah, he was my classmate. He graduated the same year as I did at Gunderson High School, and I had maybe 2 or 3 classes with him.
Wow, dude, that's cool.
Yeah, such
you
a
always
cool
know
guy.
Famous people, even at Gunderson.
Yeah, who would have thought? Actually, they just renamed the field after him also. The James Jones field, respectfully.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, the kid, he was always super cool. I think I had him like in the math class and like 2P classes. Of course, he was like fucking. We'll play badminton, and he was like fucking amazing in it. Like,
oh yeah, those guys are always better. They're always good at like 4 sports. It's not even just
like he was just amazing in anything he touched. So I remember reading his story, like when he came back to the 49ers, I'm sorry, not the 49ers, the Raiders, and he was talking about how he grew up poor, actually. He grew up poor, and how his, homeless also, and his mother was an addict. So he would stand outside the 7-Eleven in the South Side, which I know exactly where 7-Eleven was because it was near our school, to ask for money to give to his mom for her addiction. So
that's rough.
And I'm like, damn, like we see these athletes like millionaires, and we see them all like all crazy and stuff, but at the same time we don't know their stories.
No.
And I think sometimes when they give, and my whole point is like, some might say like, oh, they just do it for the PR or something, but no, sometimes these athletes know exactly where how it is to be broke and how to go how to sleep with hunger. So they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want this for any children or anything. So they're
Right.
most likely willing to help, not because, oh, look at me, how Graham is.
I'm gonna sell
How
way
they're
more.
fucking,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sell
they're
more
trying to show their
jerseys
heart.
because of this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we kind of came to this conclusion from this one part, like, like whether or not knowing about sports makes you less of a man. We kind of figured out that it's not. It's more like people care so much about the way they're perceived or their image.
Yeah.
And it's not even that, it's not that you're really less of anything. It's just that you're perceiving yourself as less. It's really all your perception. And I think we apply that negativity based on bullying and stuff we get when we're younger. So like those bully voices stay in our heads and it's our psyche. We're still blaming other people, but it's like, no. They're not here anymore. They're physically gone. We're still blaming physically other people when they physically haven't been in our lives for 20 years. Yeah. You got to start blaming yourself, buddy. And I'm not saying buddy to you. I just mean in general. But it's just, you got to start pointing the finger at yourself and being like, look, stop saying this shit and try it. See how it makes you feel, which is the most important thing. Then practice at it, because you're not going to be good even if you like it. But if you like it, that's a good sign. Because if you like it now, you're going to love it if you get good at it. So, like I said, try it, then practice. But practice is like one of the most important things. Because even like with guitar or bass, like with you, like we love playing guitar, we love playing bass. But if we don't practice our guitar and bass, our chop starts to suck. And like we just get sloppy and we stink. So, you gotta sharpen, keep that iron sharp. So I think that's definitely the nail in the coffin on that one, because I don't know. I think it's a lot of it's just in our heads and on that aspect, right?
I think it has to do a lot with, like you said, our self-image. We don't want, especially growing up as a boy, in the culture, where kids are so fucking ruthless. It's like, I don't want to be seen as anything less as a man.
Right.
So of course I'm gonna like the most manly shit. If everybody else is gonna be talking about the Warriors, or I'm gonna be the number one Warrior fan and know every single thing about the Warriors, about hockey or whatever.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest perspective. Like, oh, I saw how they were like bullying some kid because he didn't play hockey. So fuck that. I don't want to be bullied. Right. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one way or the other. And I think one thing, one term that always like I never liked, and it always like I'm not offended by it, but I'm just like I'm disappointed when people say, especially when my students say it's like, oh, dude, great sweater, or like, oh, do you love your sweater? No homo. Like I hate that term, the no homo term. And I'm like, are you really like that insecure about your own masculinity?
Yeah, that's rough, dude.
That you have to like, you cannot even say like, hey, Coop, I like your shoes, no homo. I'm like, shit. Well, Coop liked it from somebody. He saw somebody wear it. So that makes him gay, or like,
you know what me and my buddy started doing in the 2010s, because that was bugging us too.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the people that are homophobic. Like, I'm not, but the people that I know that are homophobic aren't going around gay bashing. They're just ignorant in their ways, and they're still good people. They're just ignorant in their ways, right?
They don't want to be perceived or seen as anything else but a manly man.
But see, that's their flaw, and I'm not here to talk about their flaw. But we already know it's a problem. But that's us. We're different. So what I would do, because I just love annoying people and pushing people in both ways, I would say something super gay, and then I'd be like, hella homo.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, you shouldn't care that much, dude. Like, if you're that, are you closet gay? Like, you shouldn't worry so much, dude. Why are you worried everyone's gonna think you're gay unless you are gay and you don't want to be, like,
yeah, you're
it's
so
funny,
deep in the closet.
dude. It's like,
and if you are in the closet, dude, it's 2021.
Yeah, dude, you will be celebrated like a king in the Philippines, dude. They will have a fucking carpet, a rainbow carpet, not a red one, and it'll
Yeah.
be covered in glitter. It'll be on Broadway. Right before, no, it won't be Broadway. It would be Castro.
Your true friends will love you regardless if you're gay or not. Like,
Yeah,
your
unless
real
all your friends are like Nazis or I don't know.
ignorant as. Then
What
you
about the
might have a problem.
KKK guy that's like trying to? First of all, get a new club because I think that's outdated.
Yeah, that's how the at least be a neo-Nazi. I think that's what's hot right now.
Random sidebar: have you seen? And it is related to the KKK. Have you seen the war music video? Why can't we be friends?
No, I haven't actually.
So-
I'm aware of the song, but I haven't.
Yeah, I know everyone knows the song,
Yeah.
and especially in the Latin community, that's like war is celebrated. But
yeah,
that and Brenton Wood. But don't get me started. It in the video, it's a parody. It's a very funny video, and the whole point of it is culturally like get over your shit, let's get along, which
Yeah.
is a beautiful message.
Mm-hmm.
Song holds up, but there is one part that is a little questionable, and I'm not saying it in a way where like cancel them. I'm not like that. It's questionable in a way that I find it very fucking hilarious. I was on the ground crying because there's a scene where they're showing like a cowboy and a Native American or like like a cop and a black guy,
Yeah.
or not a black cop and a black guy. That would have been topical for now, but
Yeah.
then it jumps to a black guy and a KKK Klansman shaking hands, and then the KKK guy putting his arm around him, and they walk away, and then the next thing, and I'm like, that is so, and dude, 90% of war is black guys,
yeah.
so it was just, I looked at Steph, and I was on the ground crying, and she's all, what the fuck, and I'm like, but it's just, they mean so well by it, but it's just, even now, even such a positive message done in such a parody form, I feel like if they try to do something like that now, it'd get canceled.
Yeah.
Because even Chappelle, he can't do Chappelle's show. He wouldn't have been able to do it now.
No, the message would get lost with people taking.
People would be
everything
too
with the
distracted
very
by the
literal.
robe. They wouldn't even know what happened in the. They'd be like, "Oh, it's a fucking KKK rally video." But that's my
Yeah.
point. That's my point. It was so funny and absurdly over the top. But I appreciated it because it wasn't just a regular white guy and a black guy. So
Yeah, no,
they were
it was
just
the
targeting. They weren't
KKK,
just
yeah.
targeting regular white people. They were targeting the racist white people. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe that was the point. It's like,
Yeah.
how can we target racist white people without making them look like all the other white people? Oh yeah, put
Yeah.
that fucking hood on it with the holes in it.
Yeah.
Like
this is-
when you
this is
think
how you
about it,
look.
it makes more sense. It's just hilarious to see in context, right?
Yeah, and this is what the 70s also.
Yeah, this is like 70s, dude. So it's like Black Power is like
Yeah.
at an all-time high.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are pushing envelopes. The PC movement, because I heard the PC movement started back up in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know, dude. 70s were crazy, but that's what I mean. I think they were just doing whatever, man. They were just doing them.
Yeah.
But that was a nice segue. Let's get into masculine sport versus not so masculine.
Yeah, dude.
And
So
we'll just
when we
throw.
were-
I think we'll throw
we
a
were-
sport out, and then we'll go back and forth.
Yeah, so just to give some content to our listeners, I was going to say viewers, but yeah, we also have viewers. When we were bouncing ideas, I thought like we should do this, because when I was in college at San Jose State, I was a member of this group called the MCC, Men Creating Change, and the main goal for this group was to stop and prevent violence towards women, any form of violence towards women, and then also to redefine masculinity. So this is, I don't know, 2012, 2010 ish time. So I remember doing this presentation in our frat houses. Like we went to a frat house and we were discussing, we're talking about what's a manly drink and what's a not so manly drink, if you
Right.
will. And so, of course, like, I'm like, tell me, beer, whiskey, like shots,
Yeah.
like all these, like, these were old fashions, like, oh no, these are manly drinks. And then I'll be like, okay, what's a feminine drink? Like, oh, martinis. Oh, Sex on the Beach or vodka and Red Bull, all these like
Yeah.
super sweet drinks, and we're like, okay, and then we kind of broke it down, like, okay, well, why is this one? Oh, it's because it's colorful or whatever, or sweet. And I'm like, well, when you have an intake of sugar, it goes directly into your bloodstream faster, and if you mix sugar with alcohol, that means you're just getting drunk at a faster rate.
Yeah.
Then
Plus-
so
Yeah. Plus, sugar content is related to alcohol.
yeah, and I'm like, so even though you might think this is not such a manly drink, like you actually getting drunk faster,
Right.
and then this is why you need to be more conscious, when you go out and when you date or somebody, or there's a group of girls, like this is the why they're like blasted, because of the drinks they're getting, that they're telling me, oh no, you're this kind, so you can only have this type of drinks. So when we were developing this concept, like, hey, we should do like what's a manly sport and what's not so manly sport, just to showcase like how, I wouldn't say ignorant we are, but it's just like how our brains work when it comes to subject matter. Like,
Yeah.
and it kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier about like self-image and shit.
Yeah, I
So-
definitely think so, and I think it's fun because it'd just be fun to go back and forth about things.
Absolutely. So I'll go out there. I'll see the first one.
Throw it out there.
Do you want a manly sport or not so manly sport?
Surprise me.
So I'm gonna go with not so manly sport,
All right.
and I'm gonna tell you this one. It's gonna be soccer, because
Okay.
soccer has always gotten like shit because no hand, there's no touching, and they flop, and they
Right. Well, do you want
know-
me to say mine? And since you know more about it, you can kind of just conclude and wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the reason I would say it's not so manly would be because I'm going to just name all the things no matter how ridiculous it is.
Go
I'm going to
ahead.
say uniform. Even though it is probably one of the smartest because it's most mobile, it's short shorts and a kind of a skimpy shirt. You lost the manly guys there. Also, the other
but
thing.
the female. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll rebuttal later.
Right. And then the other thing too is the whole fact of the matter within the sport that they fake, like sports fake penalties, but with the way I've seen these fools fake these falls, it's pretty lame. So that's not so manly either. And by the way, when I say not so manly, that doesn't mean it's feminine.
No, just not
Because
so
we got a
manly.
lot of things nowadays.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I would also say that they're not the most yoked. They're kind of like wiry dudes. And I know that's stupid because they're running around so much, so they're not going to be beefcakes. But I wouldn't be surprised if just their physical build is also why people say not so manly. They're not like these brutes. But I don't think you can be running that fucking giant field all day long.
Yeah, because you gotta go for speed.
Exactly. So correct me on my faults and let me know what's going on. Because you said you
first
had a
off,
good one.
Yes, I'm trying to get one stat. Okay, let me get this. So when it comes to the uniform,
Yeah.
I mean, the girls love it. That's what I gotta say. Like it especially with this new uniform styles where it's like super cut, super athletic, and then they're sweating. It really highlights the man's
Oh, okay.
physiques. So I mean that's one point. But yeah, it's super simple because it's mobile, and you cannot, if you're gonna be running around fast, you
gotta be
can't be
light.
having something super heavy, especially if you're sweating. Wet clothes gets even heavier, so it has to be super tight, super lightweight, and like less is more in some aspect.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
And remember, it's in America, soccer's played in the summer. All over the world, it's played in the winter. So like, try playing, soccer in England where it's fucking snowing. Like they're out there with like long sleeves and shit. Also, because it's freaking.
But
cold.
with as much as they're running around, they're probably only cold when they're on the sideline.
Oh, absolutely. And the sidelines, they put on their freaking heavy ass jacket. Once they're in the field, some might play with a long sleeve, some might just play with the short sleeves and maybe gloves or something. But they're staying warm.
Yeah.
Just because I have this right here, you said the physiques, dude. Have you not seen these players without their shirts?
I mean, they're cut, But I'm saying
yeah.
they're not. They're more like. I'm just
They're
saying
not
like
bulky.
exactly because when you think like let's look at it this way, like when I'm saying like cut, it's like judging the way Bruce Lee looks versus like a football, like a linebacker,
Yeah.
or even
Yeah,
a
yeah.
baseball, like a yoked baseball player maybe.
It's like you're not gonna compare Bruce Lee to like The Rock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and manly isn't mean attractive to women either. And that's the
true.
funny thing. So that's the weird part about this whole manly thing, is I think it's a weird fraternity of homophobic dudes that want things that are attractive to them, but they can't admit it's attractive because that's not manly. Even though the whole aspect of manly is you're basically attractive to other manly dudes because you're manly.
You know what?
Which is kind of funny.
That it was because sideline here.
Yeah.
We all seen Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw it recently, so let's go.
Okay, so there's the whole song, the no one fights like
Yeah,
Gaston,
Gaston.
no one
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of dudes saying how great this guy is.
Oh,
and
dude,
how
they all
manly
were
he
on
is.
his dick.
Yeah, they were all on it, and like they love him because he's such a perfect representation of what a man should look like. And if you take that out of content, and you kind of read what they're saying, like, dude, these guys have like a freaking crush on him.
Or an obsession. Yeah.
Yeah, an obsession. So I'm surprised, and with today's youth, I'm surprised they're not singing that song and saying no one fights like us, not no homo. Like you say no homo after every little thing. But I think you're right. Like, I think I can only speak on myself on this one, but definitely middle school, you always want to hang out with the more manly boys, the more machos, the bullies, if you will.
It's survival.
Yeah, because you don't want to hang out with like the geeks or like the not so cool kids, because you're gonna get subject to getting picked on.
It's genetic, dude. It's survival. Like if you're out in the fucking look, let's go back to cave days. Women didn't go for men that look like fucking string beans because they needed men who could protect them and help provide for them too.
Yeah.
I don't think we've lost that. I don't think we've lost that. I think that's genetically ingrained in us.
No, you still see it like in the animal kingdom today.
But I mean, even in between human beings, we totally do that every day. Like, we don't consciously do it because it's not a conscious choice. It's just like we're genetically made to. It's survival. We go towards dominant figures because that's survival. You never want to hang out with a fucking IT group.
Yeah,
if it's the end of the world,
Well, it's Silicon Valley, so maybe now you
servers crashed. But
no, just to finish it up, the flopping, it kind of sucks. It sucks. You see it when they flop, and they, But one thing also, sometimes they do, these players are rolling around, acting like they're hurt to kill the time.
Well, I know it's strategy.
It's strategy, but it does suck. You're like, come on, bro.
They do the same thing in football. They'll lay on top of dudes because it takes longer. That's 5 seconds. That's a whole play. So I mean, I get it. There's all the politics involved for sure. That definitely makes sense.
And recently, seeing highlights of like the basketball highlights and stuff. Same thing you see as with basketball also.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm not. I wasn't gonna bring up basketball because besides those guys being physically scary and just freaks of nature because they're like 8 feet tall. Yeah. Sometimes they got some bitch fucking injuries, dude. Like a jammed finger. I'm like, look, I get it, dude. I understand you have to catch a ball with your finger, but how many sports have guys played with broken limbs? I don't know, dude. It's just frustrating to me. I'm not, but at the same time, am I the asshole because I want this person to go through excruciating pain because other people have done it? Kind of.
No, but you're just like, hey, like, how come this professional player or athlete who's in peak condition, like, how come they can do it? Okay, how come Mankind, and we all know who Mankind is, how come if he fucking wrestled in the infamous Hell in a Cell, fucking with a broken ankle, he fought the whole thing with a broken ankle, and he was not yoked up like these professional athletes. Not saying that he's not a professional athlete, but he didn't have the same physique. Yeah, he still went out there and performed, and he did the whole thing with a fucking broken ankle, and like his fucking piece of his cheek broken.
Yeah.
Like, if he can do it, or not cheek, but like ripped, if he can do it, how come these pro athletes can do it also? I think that's where we're like, we compare
I
apples
agree.
to oranges.
But I agree because I feel like there's the people that want it more, and and Mick Foley wanted it more. Mankind wanted that shit.
He really wanted to deliver. He really wanted to deliver.
They said when they were rehearsing it, they knew they didn't want him to do it. They were like, I don't know. He's like, no, we'll do it. I'm gonna do it because like you said, his injury. They were gonna like reschedule or something, and it was like his choice. I think he didn't even tell him. No, I made that up. He didn't even tell him. So I think it could have been like, but he wanted it so bad because at the same time, you're in showbiz, dude. You give up that golden opportunity, it's over. It probably won't ever come back.
Absolutely.
So he wouldn't have had that match with Undertaker. So he knew. He kind of, in a way, I mean, it's not that it was Vince McMahon's fault, but in a way, he understood the corporate risk he was taking by canceling or rescheduling. So he's like, I'm a fucking showman. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. If anyone here doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, look up Mankind versus Undertaker Hell in a Cell. You don't even have to write what year it was because it's one of the most iconic matches. The shit that happens is all real, by the way. Yes, wrestling is choreographed, but that shit wasn't, and it was improv'd, and it was amazing.
I love seeing now that they reflect on it, and they're saying how like the chain it was so improv that they like the when Mankind goes, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I mean, you're
not spoiling shit. Yeah.
When the Undertaker like chokeslammed him and he went through like on the top of the cell and he kind of broke the chain like fence and then went to like Undertaker staring at him is because the Undertaker, he's like, holy shit, I just killed this guy.
Plus that wasn't, like I said, that wasn't part of the plan.
It wasn't planned because they were so unprepared that they just grabbed like the most random chain fence and it snapped.
And it wasn't them. It just was the organizer was so stupid that you're going to put about, 800, no, not that much, but maybe like 600 pounds of
600?
Human being combined with the two of those guys with these tiny little, because I worked for a fencing company.
Yeah.
They're just little pieces of metal they twist to hold it together. Yeah, dude, that's not going to hold up. Even if you put it on every little ring. It's like, this shit's like 25 feet in the air. Like, I don't know, dude. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
But like total great example of someone that, by the way, super manly.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. He didn't have the physique of The Rock once again, but manly because he fucking endured shit to, and I guess it's a manly thing, going through hell.
Just one
risk.
Last example of this also, and I can't remember the athlete's name, and I apologize, but I want to say it was 1998, the Olympics. It was a female, it was a woman, and she was doing like the I forgot the sport is, but basically like you run and you hit like and you do like fucking crazy ass somersaults.
Oh,
and
the
shit,
gymnast shit on the beam.
Yeah, she went the first time and she broke on the landing. She broke her ankle.
Oof.
So it was either you get disqualified or you try again to win the gold. And she did it. She did a run and everything on a broken ankle, did her fucking somersault and won the gold on a broken ankle. You know, and this is like a 16-year-old woman.
That's what I mean though. You got to go through qualifiers. You got to train years and be in qualifiers years before the Olympics even happen just to compete, let alone place. She had to do it. She had to play it on the broken ankle.
Because this is
she knew she wasn't going to be back.
Again, exactly.
And it's 4 years. Prime. You're out of your prime again. You're physically out, obsolete. That's the thing that's fucked about the Olympics. That's good about the Olympics. It keeps it competitive. Is those 4-year gaps. Because it allows athletes to come in and do theirs. Because otherwise, you had this every year, it'd just be a shit show. It'd be gold medals all the time.
So I just find out this person's name, just as I was looking for. Her name is Terry Strug, Strug.
Nice.
Tucson, Arizona. So what? This was 1998. So she was like what, 20 when she did
Wow.
this Olympics. So 20,
So
and
she's
yeah, she did
42
it
now.
on a broken ankle.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Um.
manly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm way off. It wasn't even the 1998 Olympics. It was the 1996 Olympics.
Ah, that.
In Atlanta. So I don't math good, but she was like what, 19 when this happened? 1918.
Wow. Well, you don't have to
So
be 18.
no, that's the thing.
Actually, no, I don't think so. No, wait, for adults, you do? Yes. Because then it would be girls, not women's. Yeah. So, yeah, if it's women, she would have been 18 at least, I think. I don't know what the age cutoff is for the Olympics. I feel like gymnasts, because I feel like all those really good gymnasts are under 18, aren't they? Aren't they like in that 14 to 18 range?
Yeah,
Because of their body?
Yeah, because of their body. Exactly.
Because once you're older, you're just not nearly as fast and as nimble. You're just so light. I mean, dude, look how we were. Well, at least, look, I was like 50 pounds, 60 pounds lighter in high school. Looking at pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be that anymore, but that was my norm. And that's what I mean. It's like that age group was probably perfect for them spinning around the air 60 times.
Yeah.
And then landing and not breaking something.
No, it's just, and I suggest you look that up, dude. Like that girl, I know it was like versus the Russians. I know she injured her knee or her ankle, and she had to go and do it again. And I'm not sure if she wanted to do it or she was forced to do it in order to like get the gold.
Yeah.
But she went back there, and like it's crazy because you can tell she's in pain the whole time. She's just standing on one foot, and then she just takes off running. She does her thing. She
Dude,
lands
that
on both feet.
adrenaline was probably just
Yeah.
She probably didn't feel it
But
until
they
she
won
landed.
gold. They won gold, and so again, going back to like the flopping and I guess the whole thing, like, isn't that considered manly? Like, imagine if it wasn't a girl. Imagine if that was like a dude. Like, imagine if that was Michael Jordan, and he's like, oh, he played out there with a broken ankle, and he still
Right.
won the champ. He won the Bulls, won the championship. Like, imagine how fucking huge Michael Jordan's story would be right now.
I mean, there's a lot of athletes that do that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make tabloids. But, I mean,
That's true.
George Kittle in the 2019 season where we went to the Super Bowl for the 49ers,
Mm-hmm.
he had broken ribs
Yeah.
all year and was running, catching, taking hits, blocking. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
can't breathe with broken ribs. I've never even had a broken rib, but I would be crying.
I heard.
I heard you
it's
can't
painful.
sneeze, farting, all that shit fucks you up.
That.
But, and then there was a guy back in the 70s that played for the Steelers that had a broken leg, and they literally took like tape and cardboard and sent him back out there.
Yeah, this is
So,
kind of
I
like
mean, it's crazy, man.
Varsity Blues kind of talks about it too with Billy Bob.
Yeah.
I know it's a movie, but it's
No, it's true because he got hit in the head so many fucking times. He was just fucked up.
and I think they shot him like some adrenaline. What did they shoot him with?
Oh,
like,
yeah. They shot him like probably hydrocortisone
yeah,
just to keep
So-
you from not feeling anything. But then, like,
Yeah.
he's so fucked up and concussed. I mean, that was a good movie because it had a good message.
Yeah,
And it wasn't anti-football, but it wasn't like pro-football like you would think the movie was going to be.
yeah. It's more like, hey, rather than thinking, I mean,
It's like a
fucking
coming of age more.
the best line is, "I don't want
Yeah.
your life." I think,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big thing as a parent or future parents. I mean, think about, like, just because we like certain, we like something, or we think we don't know what's best for our kids all the time. Like, you
Right.
also need to respect your children's decisions
And
and
their
interests.
independence.
Yeah,
And their
kinda like,
individuality, right?
exactly. So, like, yeah, it's just because you force your kid to love football. This is why he's good. And since he was like 2, he's been working for this event, but maybe it's not what he wants to do. Is forced.
Plus, his dad had a chip on his shoulder. That's the classic thing. It's like, I couldn't get it done, but my son will get it done. Yeah, if he wants to.
If he wants, exactly.
Yeah.
Great movie. I'm gonna have to revisit it. I remember everybody was like, "Oh my god," because there's like
Oh, there's a booby, the whipped
The
cream
booby.
scene.
yeah, the
Yep.
booby. Oh yeah, and the whipped cream scene also.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the strip club with the teacher.
with the teacher, with the sex ed
Yeah.
teacher. And then there was,
Oh, she was
and then,
hot.
yeah, and then I forgot there was the whole whipped cream bikini
Yep.
thing also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, no, there's some great ones, dude. That movie's got some memorable parts. John Voight is a piece of shit.
Yes, he is. In the film and in person.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe in person too, but definitely in the film.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, great fucking movie. I want to say the great what's his name?
Paul Walker, I think, was
Paul
in
Walker's in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the quarterback, or he was somebody. He got injured. Well, he takes over.
it. He
Remember,
was the starting quarterback, right? And then he got injured, and that's why his name Knox, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever Vanderbeek's character took over because he was the backup.
Yeah.
And his dad got excited because he's like, "Oh, that's my son!" And then the movie happened. And he was like, "Nah, dude, I don't want to do this shit." So
Yeah.
spoiler. I just did a really shitty synopsis of Varsity Blues.
Well, that's just encouraging people to go see it.
No,
And you kinda see it
hopefully.
also with Remember the Titans. You kind of see that too with
I will say, I think Remember the Titans is a better film.
100%. But different message.
But it's easy to be better when it's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
But it's got so much good music. I mean, you got Denzel. I enjoy the film more. I think that's a better way to put it. I enjoy Remember the Titans more. Even with the sad parts, I feel like Varsity Blues is so much more depressing, even though I feel like so much worse shit kind of happens in Remember the Titans.
But
maybe not, though.
But let's not forget Foo Fighters' hero song comes out in Varsity Blues.
It does. They got a lot of good ones, and God, that's a good one. That is a good one. All right. You got me there.
You know, you gotta rewatch it.
Yeah. Plus, didn't he have a pet pig?
He did.
Billy Bob.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. I'm gonna check right now because
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. It should be free, and if it isn't, I believe it might also be a free with ads on YouTube one. Maybe. Yeah. It might be.
Hey, dude, was I telling you this last time we spoke? Oh no, they don't have Varsity Blues, but they got The Girl Next Door, which I will definitely see that movie.
Classic. I love that one too.
Movie. But was I telling you that I was seeing 13 Ghosts a couple days ago?
You did. You told me that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were texting. And I told you it kind of sucks because you edited
it. Oh, yeah,
you son of a witch and stuff. And then I just found out it's coming out on Netflix like in 2 weeks. And I'm like,
cool. I'm gonna rewatch
so I'm
it.
gonna have to see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Now Shannon Elizabeth's in that movie, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't have any nudie parts. Well, it's PG-13. I don't think she did.
No, but there is a ghost with booby parts. So.
I remember her. She was scary.
Yeah.
They were all scary. I want to rewatch that movie because those ghosts freaked the fuck out of me.
Because it's not CGI. I mean, yes.
Well, and the way they had him in those creepy glass cages and shit.
Exactly.
And I don't know. That shit fucking scary. That was a good. That was a cool movie. I was scared of that movie when it came out.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
So I feel like that movie came out the same time as House on Haunted Hill, the remake.
Was
this like 1998?
And like Ghost Ship and stuff. Yeah, and like Ghost Ship and yeah, all those movies are great. I feel like, or like Final Destination and
yeah,
like,
those are classic.
The Blair Witch. I feel like a lot of those movies in the late 90s, early 2000s get kind of forgotten.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think that's our job to re-educate the people, man. That's why we're here. So
yeah,
we're gonna keep doing that. Before we go, did you want to touch on any sports that you want to get into more that maybe you're not doing right now?
You know, there is a sport that I've been saying I want to get into or want to be more knowledgeable, and that's hockey. You know, coming from San Jose, we have the San Jose Sharks. A lot of my friends do love the sport. I don't understand it. I mean, I kind of get the concept of it. I can follow along, but like, I won't feel comfortable. I don't know. I cannot name you one fucking player. I can name you Sharky, which is the mascot.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, and I feel like it's a sport that I want to get into because we both grew up watching, the Mighty Ducks, and
well, dude, we grew up in the era of Wayne Gretzky. Even if you don't understand hockey, you understand he's like one of the best, he is the best hockey player. But
yeah,
it's just you understand he's also one of the greatest athletes of all time as well.
Dude, not only that, but like there was so much hockey for us growing up. Like I said, the Mighty Ducks. There was the series, the cartoon series.
Yeah.
There was Airborne, which is not really a little bit
They
of
played
hockey,
street
but
hockey. Yeah, it was
street hockey.
inline skate. Yeah.
Which I was just thinking of another one and I went blank. It doesn't matter, but yeah, we grew up with like, I was thinking the Van Damme movie, Sudden Death.
Oh
Which
yeah.
has nothing to do with
Well,
hockey,
it takes
but
place
it
during
revolves-
the playoffs or the Stanley Cup, right? Yeah.
exactly in LA.
Yep.
Great fucking movie.
God, I need to
Anyways,
rewatch that movie
dude, fucking great.
because it's sudden death overtime.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many cool things. Van Damme was in so many, not random because it was his movie, but so many good action movies. Van Damme movies are very tight. Yeah.
Even his GCVD VD, whatever it is, his more movie about where he's talking about himself. Like that movie was even good too.
Wow. I'll check that one out too.
Yeah, like the premise is like he said, this is him, now where it's like a washed up actor. He does movies like in fucking China and Taiwan and shit.
Yeah.
And then like he becomes like this hostage in some bank robbery and they want him to do shit. And he does this whole thing where it's like, yeah, he does this whole thing about like his life and he has a monologue and it's fucking deep, dude. So
that is cool. Very
Van Damme,
meta.
I've always been more of a Van Damme guy than fucking Steven Seagal.
You know what's weird is it's not that I go one way or the other, but I think my dad watched more Seagal. I like both equally because they're different, and I think obviously Seagal's more cheesy, but Van Damme's acting can be quite cheesy sometimes.
I mean, with Van Damme, you're gonna get horrible lines and then
but
shot for
his
some reason.
redeeming quality is his martial arts. He is really good. He would probably whoop Steven Seagal's ass.
Yes.
I don't even think that's a debate. But yeah, no, dude. Van Damme's a fucking beast.
And full on homo.
Yeah.
Van Damme has way better ass than Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I will give you that. I think Steven Seagal's main thing was his face that he had going for him because he's not a bad looking guy, but physically not ever really super intimidating. The ponytail?
Right.
No, Van Damme was like, he just looked like a brute, and like, great example of, once again, just a buff, sweaty, oiled up dude.
I want to be his friend and not Steven Seagal's friend.
No, but I think I would rather be Van Damme's friend in real life than Steven. I don't know. Seagal just gives me a weird spiritual, he's going to annoy me vibe.
Yeah.
I'm going to go meditate with go fuck yourself, Steven.
You're faking it, bro. You're pushing it.
Us and Van Damme are going down to the pub. We're going to hang out for a little while. You have fun doing your little weird yoga in the woods, dude.
Yeah, you go fucking play with your nunchucks and freaking meditate on your freaking fallen master.
Practice your fucking...
Van Damme and I were going to get drunk, maybe do a bit of drugs, and, maybe a fight will break out.
You can practice your chipmunk handbook.
Jackie Chan is joining us.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Jackie's going to join us.
Which reminds me, I've only seen the first Rush Hour. My homework is to watch the other two.
Part 2 is good. Part 3, But Rush Hour, any Jackie Chan movie is fucking good. And
super
any
racist movies, by the way. I love it.
Oh. And any Chris Tucker movie is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
When he
true.
talks to this day is like the fucking greatest movie ever.
Dude, Chris Tucker is very underrated, and
Yes.
yeah, he's good.
And I know I'm gonna let you tell me your sport, but last movie that's super underrated, and I think we brought this up several times, Norbit.
Have never seen it.
You never seen Norbit?
So underrated, I've never watched it.
Fuck. It's either on Amazon or it's
Is it
streaming
funny?
somewhere. Yeah, I think it's fucking hilarious.
Okay, well, I'll check it out because to me, it's on the same era of Eddie Murphy that's like Haunted Mansion. So I'm like, I never was turned on by that era of Eddie Murphy.
But you know what? Haunted Mansion Eddie Murphy is not so bad either.
That movie was pretty shitty.
Okay, maybe.
But maybe it wasn't really Eddie Murphy that made that movie shitty. The whole movie was trash.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm sorry, Danny. It might have been one of your favorite Disney movies, but the ride's the only thing worth talking about.
And I'm like, it's difficult to turn a ride into a fucking...
Dude, they could have done
movie.
like the most basic ghost story, and it would have been better than the fucking crap they put together. I'm just saying because I watched it recently, and it was literally the ghost. It was a ripoff of The Haunting, because it was like the ghost was trying to steal Eddie Murphy's wife, and it was just like the oldest fucking lamest ghost story in the world. And then I don't know. It's just like, dude, they could have been more murder. I don't know. I know it's a Disney movie, but come on. Come on.
They had more place to work with it.
It was the most watered down, trashy ghost story ever. Casper was better.
I know they're turning the Jungle Cruise into a movie with The Rock, so I'm not really stoked on that. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, but here's why I get you, because I get so much crap about this, but Splash Mountain's one of my favorite rides of all time. Everyone says that the ride's racist. I don't know it that way, and I'm not saying it isn't. But I don't know it as that. I didn't like it because it oppressed black people in the 20s. I didn't know that. I liked it because it was a cool-ass ride that you go on a water thing. But I liked the theme because it was a bunch of critters in, like, the South. I didn't know anything about the context. But I was bummed. I was like, fuck, man. Appropriation, but, like, that ride was awesome, and it was part of my childhood. But Jungle Cruise, the only thing I will say to defend the adaptation is it shouldn't change too much, because I'm assuming it's going to be a Jumanji style. And hopefully they'll be tasteful enough not to just remove everything and change it all up, and maybe just update it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because they really don't have to change anything.
Yeah, it's going to be like, you know the premise, like someone's going to get washed up to shore and they're going to get hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
So we it's kind of expecting that, and then you're gonna a little homage to like the ride, certain scenes here and there. But
you know what it's gonna turn into, and it kind of was. It basically was Disney's version, and I shouldn't say Disney's version because I think they probably did that first, but much similar to the Universal tour, where it's very goofy and even though it's based on movies, it is super goofy still. And I think that was the main point of Jungle Cruise, is the funny part. Right?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing was like, at first it was supposed to be taken as a very serious ride and shit. And then wasn't
like back
until
in the 50s.
Yeah, it was like supposed to be super like, oh, look at this, look at the tiger. It was supposed to be like super serious. And it wasn't until like he had one skipper who kind of threw in the sarcasm in it.
Dude, that makes that ride 10 times better.
He threw in the sarcasm in it, and then there was like, oh shit, that's actually way better. Like the wacky, like the dumb.
Well, yeah, because people are gonna roast it anyway. So if you beat them to it, then they can laugh with you and not at you.
And if you think about it, even like the jokes are like a clueless freaking Jungle Cruise kind of person,
right?
Like, or guide, because like there's so many scenes where they're like, oh. And that plant right there is green, and this one's a plant, and that's a plant. So let me point you out, the 7 different types of plants here in the jungle. There's that one, this one, so it's like super.
Or like the guy, oh look, a native. He's always here at the same time every 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Never throws the spear, just threatens us.
Yeah, it's not gonna hit us. It's not gonna hit us. Or like, oh, the backside of H2O, woo,
Yeah.
Or he goes, or I'd like to say O2H. I'm like, and
they're like, now we're taking our tip back.
Yeah. No, but I really like the So we'll see what happens once it comes. I'm gonna see it. So I'll give you.
Here's the thing you don't have to be worried about. It wasn't deemed racist, so that means they're not going to change everything. Once again, I'm not defending whatever. I'm just bitching.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, since the Jungle Cruise isn't deemed racist,
there is some racist parts on it.
Of course, there's racist shit in everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You look on the Campbell soup can, there's something racist, dude.
No, they're saying there's this part of the ride where like, it's like a group of people, and there's like a rhino, so everybody's like up a pole. And it's like a bunch of like the helpers and nothing but like black people, and then the very top is like a white guy, hiding himself. And I'm like,
yeah, but realistically, at Jungle Cruise, they had the black guides, and realistically, they're not gonna fucking be the ones on the top.
Yeah,
like let's be honest, it's social hierarchy back then. It's not that we prefer one way or another, but that's just the sign of the times. I mean, that's kind of the point too with this appropriation. I don't like is. Eventually, we're going to have to erase history because it insults people.
But
And we
here's the
can't
thing.
do that. We can't erase history. We need to learn from it. We need to
Well,
experience it and learn from it.
I feel like that's the quick fix, though. Like, oh, we're just gonna erase history, and no one's gonna, and we're gonna pretend like it
But
wasn't
that's
there.
what
Like,
they're
no,
doing. It's
like, you
not a
need to
solution.
you have to acknowledge it as a historian. Like, you have to acknowledge it
Yeah.
because you cannot sugarcoat it, and you cannot like erase it or anything.
No. And that's doing more damage than it is good.
Exactly.
Because it's a cover. Think about it like this. It's a cover-up. Now, Splash Mountain, I get it. If it's something terrible, okay, why we've been glorifying it this whole time, I understand that. But to split hairs, I feel like they're splitting hairs with the Jungle Cruise. That one's bullshit to me.
Yeah.
Because yes, it is racist, but the whole idea of a Jungle Cruise then should be racist. Because why are we hanging out with African American? Well, it's like, dude, we can't do anything. Pretty soon we're going to go to a theme park and we're going to sit in a room with a chair and throw a ball. I don't know, dude, because eventually funnel cakes are going to piss people off. And I don't know, dude.
I do love funnel cakes, though.
People should be more upset that they juice the smells out of these things to make you want to buy stuff more than the racism there.
I know.
But hey.
No, it sucks.
Don't you care more about what hurts your pocket, people? No, I'm kidding. No, but yeah, dude, I don't know. But that's what I mean, man. You got to choose your battles.
Yeah.
You really do. Because some stuff's terrible, but then I think sometimes you just got to be like, is this really part of the big picture? Is this part of the good fight? What are we doing here? Or are we just helping someone's agenda to do something? But anyway, on that note, I think we're both ready to eat some dinner, and I think we're ready to tell you guys, see you later. We are going to take a week off next week, so we will be back the following week.
America.
That's true. We got our 4th of July weekend, but this will be out, tomorrow. So this will be out Friday, just in time for 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody, and be safe. If you're going to throw those illegal fireworks out there, just make sure you got a plan to put those fires out.
Don't aim to the mountains, please. For the love of God, do not aim for the mountains.
Why? That's where all the rich people live. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. But anyway, have fun, guys. And because we're taking a week off, we'll definitely have some stories, I'm sure, about our 4th. So
absolutely
keep in touch. If you want to hit us up on the gram, by all means, go for it. Also, we're Tales from the Head on the gram. And then if you want to email us, if you want to know where to get some illegal fireworks, tfthpod@gmail.com. We might know. We might not.
Maybe. I don't know. There's only one way to find out.
I don't recall. Just hit us up. All right, guys. Stay tuned, and thanks for listening. And as always, be safe, and we will see you next time.